What happened to Amy Bradley? Is cruising safe? Is this a good vacation for me and my family? High-profile incidents bring a lot of interest. People are concerned. Is this actually safe? I thought we'd look into it today. Let's get to it. Welcome. I'm Sean Wendt. I'm your host here at the Went There Cruising channel. Recently, Netflix published their documentary about Where's Amy Bradley, who went missing on a cruise ship back in 1998. And has people concerned. Is cruising safe? And is this a good family vacation? I actually saw a discussion about this on a Facebook group that I follow today, where a parent was asking, should I take my kids on a cruise or should I take my kids to Disney? Which is safer? They had real concerns about whether or not cruising was safe. So I thought we would take a look at that today. Let's dig in and figure out what the numbers are. To figure it out, I thought we'd look at some numbers. The Cruise Vessel Safety and Security Act of 2010 requires cruise lines to report certain crimes to the FBI. So the FBI has jurisdiction for certain crimes that occur on U.S. flagged vessels sailing within U.S. waters. But additionally, it has jurisdiction for foreign flagged vessels, which is nearly every single cruise ship, sailing even in international waters if the crime victim is a U.S. national and the ship sailed out of or to a U.S. port. And certain crimes being, that would be murder, a suspicious death, a kidnapping, a sexual assault, a rape, or a theft over $10,000 in value. So those crimes are required to be reported to the FBI, even if it's sailing in international waters, if it's a U.S. victim. So what are the numbers? Well, the numbers are online going back to 2010. Actually, you can find the numbers on the Department of Transportation's website. So I went and looked at them. And obviously, they have been increasing since 2010, but that's a little misleading. Cruise capacity is significantly higher than it was back in 2010. So it explains, some of the increase. But all right, the most recent data, the most recent quarter that's online is the first quarter of 2025. And over that time, it shows that 48 crimes were reported to the FBI during that period, 23 of which were rapes, which is obviously really scary. But, all right, well, how does that compare to land? So the most recent United States data available for a full year would be 2023. And looking at 2023, the state with the lowest rate of rape is New Jersey. So New Jersey in 2023 had the lowest rape rate of any state in the United States, and they had 17.8 rapes per 100,000 people. Crime rates are generally reported per 100,000 people. So how does that compare to the 23 in the first 3 months of this year? Well, CALIA, the Cruise Line International Association, reports that roughly 21 million people will sail out of North America in a given year. So that does include Canada, so it's not quite, United States only, but 21 million people will say, for sake of simplicity. 21 million people. If 23 were in the first 3 months, spread that out over 12 months, it's 92 over a 12-month period. So 92 for 21 million people equates to a rate of about 4.33. So obviously significantly less than the 17.8 for the best ranked state back in 2023 on land. So I guess it comparatively is significantly less, but what it is not is zero. As rare as the crimes may be, they may occur. When you look at murder numbers are even lower than that. They're very, very, very low, almost undetectable statistically, but they do occur. I was on the Royal Princess back in 2018 when there was a murder on board. A woman was thrown off of the pool deck and actually landed on the lifeboat on the promenade deck. Highly tragic, very, very disturbing, but it can occur. Now that incident, like many incidents, it was actually a known person. So it was a domestic incident. It's estimated on land and on cruise ships that like 90+% of sexual assaults, including rapes, are committed by a person that was at least an acquaintance of the victim. So this notion that a stranger may come assault you is certainly possible, but it is statistically very, very, very low. Again, doesn't mean it can't happen. And so I think where the trouble comes in, right? So 4.33 is not zero. Sometimes when people are on vacation, they get this sort of false sense of security. Think, oh, everything's safe here, it's great. But it can occur. And so maybe some of the safeguards or things they would do on land to make themselves more safe, they don't take advantage of while on board, and that can make them a better chance of some of those things occurring. So, you take reasonable precautions. As I walk around a cruise ship, I'm not worried about being assaulted. But I am a father of daughters, right? And so would I let my daughters wander around a cruise ship? And now my daughters are all adults now, but I do still cruise with them. And yes, I do feel that they are safe. Now, if we were talking really late at night and they're walking around secluded parts of the ship, I would feel a little more concerned. But generally speaking, as they walk around a ship, I don't worry about their safety. And going back to the Amy Bradley 1998, cruise ships today have significantly more surveillance on board than they did back then. So there's just cameras virtually in all the public areas. It is very difficult for something to go undetected in a public area on a cruise ship. And her whole incident involved allegedly involved a crew member potentially being involved. Every cruise line out there prohibits fraternization between cruise employees and guests, which is not to say it doesn't occur. There's human beings involved. Obviously, things can happen. But that is a big no-no for a cruise employee to get involved with a passenger on a cruise ship. So, yes, things can occur, but if you take reasonable precautions, you absolutely should be safe. And then another, I guess, safety concern that people have is you see so many stories about people falling off of a cruise ship. Well, this is a complete non-worry thing. If you are not doing something grossly unsafe, like sitting on a railing or trying to climb from one balcony to another, you cannot fall off of a cruise ship. There are railings all around. I mean, there's just no way you can accidentally fall off of a cruise ship if you're not doing something grossly unsafe. So don't worry about it. Doesn't mean that it can't happen. Take reasonable precaution, but don't stress on it. Don't worry about it. Enjoy your vacation, book the cruise. You'll have a great time. And hopefully you found the video reassuring. If you did, please like it. And if you like cruise content, please subscribe. We want to be your source for cruise content. Until we see you next time, we wish you smooth sailing. Take care.